My uncle chairs the ABC, and until now, I genuinely believed he was trying to fix that place from within. But after what I've just seen, I can no longer stay silent anymore, because it turns out that the rot inside the taxpayer-funded network runs deeper than I ever wanted to believe. And I finally accepted that the man on top is part of the problem. A bombshell report into ABC misinformation has just been made public, and what it reveals is truly shocking. The investigation conducted by an independent research group into the ABC's coverage of the Israel-Gaza conflict compiled its findings into a 58-page report packed with receipts. You can read the entire thing, and I encourage you to do so, at defundabc.com or by scanning the QR code on your screen. Among the disturbing examples highlighted in the report is the ABC repeatedly using images of sick children with genetic disorders while portraying them as victims of starvation caused by Israel. In July 2025 alone, the ABC published around 100 news articles tied to the theme of famine, often accompanied by horrific images of supposedly starving children. But in many cases, the children shown were suffering from serious pre-existing illness or genetic diseases. And honestly, you didn't even need to be an investigative journalist to spot the problem, because in many of these same photos, family members standing beside these supposedly starving children appeared perfectly healthy. Another egregious example exposed by this report involved a Palestinian boy the ABC claimed had been shot dead by Israel, despite reportedly already possessing information from the child's own mother, confirming he had never been shot and was alive and well at the time the story was published. But in true ABC fashion, instead of addressing the shocking findings of this damning report, ABC Chair Kim Williams, who also happens to be my uncle through marriage, chose to condemn those daring to report on it rather than confronting the actual problem. And I know this shouldn't surprise me coming from a man who I genuinely like personally, but is clearly completely blind to the political bias inside the taxpayer-funded organisation that he chairs.
I think if you say something often enough and you repeat it over and over again, you believe it. It doesn't make it so. Simply because you say something does not make it so. The ABC is not an especially left-wing or right-wing organisation, and in fact the majority of ABC journalists, I would defy anyone to know how they vote.
Oh, I reckon I could guess.
Well, guess you might, but I'm deeply sceptical as to whether you would be reliable in that judgment.
Kim, I'll happily take you up on that challenge. Let's, you or me, walk through any ABC newsroom and I'll tell you who the people vote for. I tell you now, I might mix up whether they're Labor, Greens or Socialist supporters, but what I definitely won't get wrong is who they don't vote for. Not One Nation or the Liberal Party. For an organisation that constantly lectures Australians about proportional representation and diversity, based on current polling, roughly a third of ABC employees should be One Nation supporters, yet you'll struggle to find even one in the entire organisation. And again, Kim, I genuinely like you as a person, but on this issue, you're either completely deluded or being dishonest, which is sad because I've always thought of you as a straight shooter, but it seems when it comes to protecting the ABC taxpayer budget, even you're willing to sell your soul.
$1.2 billion a year. Is it worth it?
It's worth it and then some. The ABC is our community square. The ABC is it's part of the firmament of Australia. It's where Australia talks to itself. It's where Australia stays in touch. It's where the bush stays in touch with the city and the city stays in touch with the bush. It's where the storytelling of Australia takes place. It's where our kids learn to feel confident and proud of Australian accents and Australian storytelling. Our kids matter. And in order to make our kids feel confident about being Australia, you need to have a solid, reliable source of Australia that is in there pitching for them and pitching to them.
So cheap at half the price.
Cheap? Oh, I'd double it in a heartbeat.
Seriously, Kim, please tell me you're kidding. Tell me you're taking the piss. I get it, it's your job to raise the money, but You can't seriously believe that we should double the ABC's $1.3 billion taxpayer-funded gravy train for the kids of all things. So what? So your overpaid staff can indoctrinate the next generation even earlier with this kind of twisted nonsense?
People think that I'm not really a girl, but I am a girl. I'm 10. When I was younger, I just didn't feel right. I am who I want to be. I can do what I want to do. If someone's trying to say, no, you can't, I'm not related to that person. I'm not they're not me. They don't know how I feel and who I want to be.
Kim, on behalf of every decent Australian, let me tell you straight, no bloody chance. The ABC should be defunded for that propaganda alone, and Australians are waking up to it, which is exactly why thousands have already signed our petition to defund you. And look, I'm sorry if that'll leave you out of a job, but I'm sure you're going to be fine, because deep down, I think even you know taxpayers shouldn't be forced to foot the bill for political activism disguised as journalism.
But if you repeat something because it's part of your ideology over and over and over again, it gets all of the magnetic attractiveness of a mantra. And mantras stick. When you keep on saying something, people don't think about it, they just accept it. They say, oh, it's biased. Well, show me. Show me where is the ABC biased?
Mate, people try to show you where the ABC is biased all the time and you just dismiss them. Actually, worse than that, you condemn the people exposing it. And I know I've personally raised examples of bias with you privately, genuinely hoping you'll do something about it. So again, Kim, with all due respect, you're either deeply deluded or you're being dishonest. And at this point, I seriously don't know which is worse. And the funny thing is, just minutes later, one of the hosts gave you the perfect example of the blatant illogical bias inside your own organisation, something you clearly didn't even know was happening.
For the ABC to broadly move off the platform X, or Twitter, in favour of Blue Sky, so 4 to 6 million Australian users compared to Blue Sky, 100,000. What was that all about?
Look, I can't actually, I can only speak to you frankly about that. I read about that decision,
Right.
like everybody over the Wheaties, and I thought, well, I fancy that. So I don't have some sort of pat prepared answer to respond to you.
No one wants a prepared answer, Kim. But maybe ask yourself this. Why the people inside your organisation making these major decisions chose to jump onto another left-wing echo chamber right at the exact moment it became the trendy thing for activists to do, instead of staying on the platform where mainstream Australians actually are.
I think you need to deliver and play and provide where people are consuming their media, and that it's an arch rule of media, in my view, that you go where people are making their own selections as to how they want to consume.
Right.
So that YouTube, for example, it's a no-brainer to be provisioning a huge amount of ABC material.
I mean, the
into
truth
YouTube.
is, from my perspective, you make what you want of X and the political views of its owner, and of a lot of the users of it. But I get my news quicker from X than I get it anywhere else. That's just a fact. So to me, I'm on it because that's where I get my news first.
Well, like you, I also read X.
I agree. As a news junkie, X is certainly a far better news source than the ABC. And the best part, guess what it is? It doesn't cost the taxpayer $1.3 billion a year. But what was probably the most lacking in self-awareness and outright hypocritical in the entire interview was Kim's response to One Nation banning the taxpayer-funded broadcaster. Why did you guys ban ABC?
Because they're hopeless. I banned them the first time in 1996 for 8 months. No, I want honest reporting. If you can't do that, don't come anywhere near me.
I think if you're going to choose who you talk to and who you don't talk to, you're in a dark and dangerous place in democracy. And I think politicians are accountable to the people and they don't get to pick who's going to question them. Clearly, One Nation has a different view. They think that they anoint who will question them.
Really, Kim? Where was that energy from the ABC when I was physically dragged out by police from one of Dan Andrews' press conferences because he wanted to do exactly that? You know where your supposedly non-biased network was? They were cheering it on. Look, I'll throw you a bone the ABC never offered me. Since you're banned, I'll ask Pauline Hanson on your behalf.
If you're in charge, will you defund them?
Yes.
You know, Ken Williams is actually my uncle. Do you want to tell my uncle something?
All right. No, I'm sorry, you're out of a job, mate. Too bad.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment and share, because I get the feeling ABC certainly won't. And then head to defundabc.com or scan the QR code on your screen to add your name to the thousands of Aussies who demand an end to this taxpayer rot. Defundabc.com or scan now.